Hello there, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're exploring another fascinating concept from Charlie Munger's Poor Charlie's Almanack, the disliking-hating tendency. This is a powerful psychological bias that influences our decision-making, often without us even realizing it. So what exactly is the disliking-hating tendency? According to Charlie Munger, this tendency explains why once we start to dislike or hate someone, something, or even an idea, we tend to ignore positive qualities, reject valid arguments or facts, seek out information that confirms our negative bias, discredit or downplay the achievements of the disliked party. This bias doesn't just influence our personal relationships. It also affects how we invest, make business decisions, and even how we vote. In this video, we'll break down how this tendency works, explore real-world examples, and share some strategies to counteract it. So stick around. The disliking-hating tendency is essentially the flip side of the liking-loving tendency. It's a cognitive bias that causes us to focus excessively on the flaws of people or things we dislike, often leading to irrational decisions. According to Munger, your brain will tend to ignore or underweigh any evidence that conflicts with your negative feelings. This bias often leads to two main problems. Confirmation bias, seeking out information that reinforces our negative views. Halo effect in reverse, allowing one negative trait to influence our entire perception of a person or idea. Example, Steve Jobs and Apple. In the early 2000s, many investors disliked Steve Jobs' unconventional management style and ignored the fundamentals of Apple as a business. Those who let their personal dislike for Jobs cloud their judgment missed out on one of the greatest investment opportunities of all time. The disliking-hating tendency can prevent us from making rational decisions by focusing our attention only on negatives. Investing is one area where the disliking-hating tendency can be particularly destructive. Emotional biases often cause investors to avoid profitable investments simply because they dislike the company's leadership or business practices. Hold on to losing investments out of spite, refusing to admit a mistake. For years, Warren Buffett avoided airline stocks because of his long-standing dislike for the industry's poor economics. However, he eventually recognized that the industry had fundamentally changed and made significant investments in airlines, proving that overcoming this bias can lead to profitable decisions. Another example is Tesla and Elon Musk. Many investors avoided Tesla for years due to their dislike of Elon Musk's controversial behavior on social media. Meanwhile, those who focused on the company's fundamentals rather than Musk's personality saw massive gains. Successful investors like Buffett focus on business fundamentals rather than personal dislikes to avoid missing out on profitable opportunities. In business, this tendency can lead to missed opportunities, poor partnerships, and bad hiring decisions. For example, the Microsoft and Apple rivalry. In the 1990s, the intense rivalry and mutual dislike between Microsoft and Apple's leadership led to missed opportunities for collaboration. It wasn't until Steve Jobs returned to Apple and brokered a partnership with Microsoft that Apple was able to stabilize its finances and move forward. Another example, Blockbuster's dislike for Netflix. Blockbuster's executives dismissed Netflix as a niche service and failed to adapt, largely because of their disdain for Netflix's business model. As we all know, that was a $5 billion mistake. Overcoming this bias can open doors to partnerships and strategies that might otherwise be dismissed out of hand. Politics is one of the most obvious areas where this bias shows up. It leads to polarized views, only consuming media that confirms our negative views of the opposing side, rejecting good ideas, opposing policies purely because they come from a disliked party. For example, media. Biased news channels often cater to their audience's existing dislikes, focusing only on stories that reinforce negative perceptions of the opposition. This leads to an echo chamber effect, where viewers become more polarized and less open to opposing viewpoints. Another example, the 2016 U.S. election. Many voters in the 2016 U.S. election admitted to voting not out of support for their candidate, but because of their strong dislike for the opposing one. This is a textbook example of the disliking-hating tendency driving decision-making. Recognizing this bias can help us seek out balanced information and make more informed decisions. Munger suggests a few practical strategies to counteract this bias. Seek disconfirming evidence. Make it a habit to search for information that contradicts your negative views. Focus on the facts. Separate emotions from data when making decisions. Ask for second opinions. Consulting people who don't share your biases can provide a more balanced perspective. Embrace humility. Accept that your dislikes might be clouding your judgment and be open to changing your mind. Perfect example is Ray Dalio's radical transparency at Bridgewater. At his hedge fund, Ray Dalio encourages employees to challenge each other's opinions openly, including his own. This culture of seeking disconfirming evidence helps Bridgewater avoid the pitfalls of bias. Recognizing your own biases is the first step to overcoming them. By deliberately seeking out opposing viewpoints, you can make more rational and informed decisions. The disliking-hating tendency is a powerful bias that can cloud your judgment and lead to poor decisions. But by understanding how it works and actively seeking to counteract it, you can make more rational choices in investing, business, and everyday life. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into cognitive biases and investing strategies inspired by Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep thinking rationally.